Hello and welcome or welcome back to the Pack Your Passport podcast. Say that 5 times fast. This is your host, Brittany Roberts. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're listening, then you're one of probably 3 people. 1, you've been thinking about becoming a travel agent. And so you're thinking, am I ready? Do I want to give this a shot? 2, you're thinking, I don't know if I want to be a travel agent, but I definitely want to learn how I can travel better, save money, maybe make some money online. Or 3, you're listening to be nice and polite to the person who sent you this podcast. And if so, thank you. We so appreciate it. But we don't want your time to be wasted. So even if you don't become a travel agent, you will leave a smarter traveler than when you got here. That is our goal for us. Today, I have brought on Vanessa Holloway. She is a travel blogger, a travel agent focusing on historical and archaeological travel. She's also a published author. She has been doing this for over 3 years, right? Almost 4 years. Wow. It's so amazing. I think we've known each other for 4 years. I can't even believe that the pandemic was almost 4 years ago. That blows my mind. So welcome to the show, Vanessa.
Thank you.
So glad you're here. Why don't you start by first telling us your story? Why historical and archaeological travel, and how did that lead to you becoming a travel agent?
Sure. I just really love history. I'm a history teacher. I also teach ELA, but I really just consider myself a history teacher. I love history. It's been something I've loved since I was in the 8th grade. I also love to travel, and I've traveled to like 20 some countries. I've been to all 50 states. It's just something I love. And then I discovered almost 30 years ago when I went to Ireland the first time that I love combining history and travel. And it's just been amazing. I always say, like, to stand in the footsteps of the past. So you just get this really heavy, deep, cool feeling sometimes. I love to combine the two. And I got started with becoming a travel agent. It's kind of a long story. I'll try to keep the short version of it. In 2019, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I kind of was decommissioned from life for a while. I went on FMLA because I wasn't going to try to teach and do chemotherapy and all of that, which turned out to be a very good decision because the pandemic literally started the day I was supposed to return to school from all of my treatments with a busted out immune system. But I was bored. I was bored to death when I was out on FMLA. I wasn't traveling. I wasn't teaching. You can only read so many books, and I love to read, but I was tired of reading even. So I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do a travel blog. So I started my travel blog. Brittany was a huge asset to me in that, helping me navigate all of those things, SEO and all of that. I still need to work on my SEO, but who doesn't, right? So anyways, through the course of that blog, I met Brittany, got into the Traveling Teachers Facebook group, and then she started mentioning this travel agent thing, and I was like, well, that could be really cool. So we talked about it, and I was kind of like, I don't really know. I'm going to think about it. And then we were supposed to go on a trip for spring break. Of course, the pandemic was in full force. My white blood cell count was not high enough for me to be safe to travel, so we had to cancel our trip. And I spent 11 hours, that is no exaggeration, that is exactly how much time I spent on hold with one of the big box online booking places trying to cancel a rental car. Just the rental car, not the hotel, not the flight, just the rental car. Luckily, I had nothing else to do at the time than sit on hold for 11 hours. But I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I reached back out to Brittany and we talked, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to jump in and see how it goes. So that's how I got started, and I loved it, and it was amazing. And, there's a marketing side, and I didn't want anything to do with that at first. I just wanted to be a travel agent and book travel. I started doing that, and I started seeing the benefits of the discounts that I'm earning, the income I'm earning. And if you love to travel, it doesn't make sense to not do this because it's just amazing. I jumped on board about 6 months later with the marketing piece also.
Love that. I can tell that you have been practicing your storytelling because that was so clean. So thank you for sharing that.
I've told it so many times now.
It's awesome. I mean, everything is practice. Honestly, I think that someone can hear something and think, oh, that's not for me. Like if I was like that, if I was that person, but every single thing that you see and hear comes as a result of practice, right? Some people make these amazing TikToks. They spend hours practicing and making bad ones. If people are getting lots of clients and you think, what's wrong with me? No, it's just that they have a process. They've practiced it. They're really used to it. They don't think about it anymore. So I love everything you shared. And I also had a very similar experience. I had a trip booked for my teachers actually to Finland. We were supposed to leave on March, I want to say 16, 2020. And then the pandemic was declared on around 12th or 13th of March. And so I had like 48 hours to, oh my gosh, it was so stressful. I can just remember it like it was yesterday. When I tell people what is this about, I believe everybody should be their own travel agent. That's what it really is. If you're going to do the work of researching, of knowing what it is you want to see, of knowing where you want to go, if you're doing this work anyway, you might as well get paid for it. You might as well not have some big company who doesn't even know you get paid for it. And the crazy thing to me is that there is a commission built into every single booking. So when you book something, whether you get the money or not, somebody's getting it, right? Whether it's the online website or whether it's the company just pocketing it. I think this is a really cool thing that has democratized travel and made it so that everybody can have access to this. So I'm just going to keep shouting it from the rooftops, and then whoever and whenever people are ready, then they can come and join us, because I really do think it's that exciting. This is what I truly believe. When we talk about the travel agent versus marketing piece, there are so many ways to make money, even just as a travel agent doing nothing else. Marcy, which I think you're going to hear either before or after this, I don't know the order yet of the episodes, but you're going to hear that she had a commission check recently for $7,000.
Wow.
Yeah. By booking a destination wedding. Now, it was a ton of work. She earned that money, but you can just imagine the amount, right? So this was probably like $100,000 to maybe $120,000 of total bookings. But the thing is that that's possible. I want people to see what's possible. I want you to know it's possible for you. And your niche that you pick, and when we say niche, we just mean what you specialize in, what you mostly book. It's going to be different, like what your amounts are, but there are things you can do to make sure that you're both meeting the needs of the client, which that doesn't matter much to you right now because you're trying to figure out how I can be a travel agent. Do I want to do this? But I'm just telling you as a preview that it's not just really about selling. If you can take care of people's needs and genuinely meet them where they're at, you will make money. And that's just learning the processes. So let's get into that. How do you make money? I know that you make commissions because I get an access to your dashboard and I get to see $200 here, $300 here, $500 here. What are you selling as a travel agent? Are these bookings you're making for yourself, for other people? What does that usually look like for you?
I make a lot of bookings for myself because I love to travel. We hear the phrase revenge travel since the pandemic was over, and that's kind of how I've lived my life for the last 2 years. You know, you survive cancer, it gives you a different perspective on life. You want to enjoy it, you don't want to get bogged down in negativity. Between that and the pandemic, I was determined once I was able to travel. I was traveling even during the pandemic. We did a bunch of road trips, hiking, things like that. So I book a lot of travel for myself. I went somewhere every single month of 2022, except for the month of April because we got a new puppy. So I stayed home to help take care of the puppy. I've also just put it out on Facebook, on my Instagram, through my blog. I have a TikTok. So I just put it out there, you know, hey, I'm a travel agent. If you're interested in travel, I can help you book. I've gotten a lot of response from my church, actually. They've been a huge supporter of me in this. The coolest thing ever is that we have 2 sets of pastors that have been with us for over 10 years now. And on their 10-year anniversary, our church sent them on like their dream trip. One couple went to Hawaii for a week. One couple went to Ireland for a week, and then they wanted to extend their trip by a week. So they covered that second week themselves. That's been really cool for me, just to have that support from them and making people's dreams come true and getting to participate in that. I've had people that I went to high school with reach out to me that were just friends on Facebook, acquaintances in the high school reunion chat, and they've reached out to me to book their trips because they knew I was a travel agent. Former coworkers have reached out to me. The one thing I will say about that is that before I was a teacher and a travel agent, I worked for the state of Missouri, and they don't pay anything. I got a $5,000 pay raise walking in the door as a teacher after 13 years of service with the state. So state employees don't get paid anything. I had this in my mind when my former coworker called me, and I was like, okay, well, they're going to want to book something and I may or may not be able to meet their budget. So always qualify your clients and don't assume things about them, because when I asked them what their budget was for their Hawaiian vacation, they told me $14,000. They were like, between 14 and 18. I'm like trying to pick myself up off the floor here, and glad that I'm on the phone with them and not in person, because I'm sure my jaw dropped. But just don't make assumptions, ask for budget. I was happy to make that happen for them.
That's such a beautiful thing that you can give people the gift of travel. Pastors especially, because they work every single week. They don't take vacations often. They're working all the time. So I think that's such a beautiful thing. And what you just said about qualifying the client, I just want to say, in case anyone heard that and was like, that went over their head, or what does that mean? That just means making sure that the people that you are going to book with you aren't just using you for information, because that is something a lot of new agents experience, is that they'll be like, well, they were interested, but they never booked with me. we teach you how all that works, right? Because we've gone through that process, so we can help you with that. If you decide, I want to be an agent, but I don't want to waste my time, we can help you to make sure that doesn't happen to you, or we can tell you ways to reduce that happening. And then planning out of someone's pocket. One big reason I hear people say, I don't want to be a travel agent is, well, do people even book with travel agents anymore? All my friends are cheap. I've heard it all, right? But the thing is that you just never know, especially when you're dealing with money, because what you see from someone as a peer is different than what you see when you're booking something for them. You never know what someone else's budget is going to be until and unless you ask. So if you're thinking like, well, I'm interested, but I don't know if there's business out there. There's business. There are people out there who want to work with experts. And those are the people who you will want to work with, because we're not just the Walmart of travel. We're not trying to get everybody a good deal. There's something for everybody. If people want to book through Costco, they're more than welcome to do that. If people want to book through Groupon, they're more than welcome to do that. But when you work with us, when you become an agent with us, we teach you how to position yourself as an expert, as a premium service. So that way people know they're getting something special when they work with you. So I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. Let's talk about some agent perks and trips, because you just said you're traveling a lot. Revenge travel is a thing for sure. I know that a lot of travel agents go on fam trips, or sometimes they'll become an agent just for the discounts. Now, we're not advocating for that, but it is a nice little benefit. So talk to me about some of the upgrades you've experienced, or maybe experiences you've had specifically because you're a travel agent.
Sure. The one I love to share the most is the first trip I ever booked for myself as an agent. And it was during COVID. Don't judge. I had to get out. I couldn't stand to be cooped up anymore. So my husband and I were supposed to be taking this trip to New England. We were going to do Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and we had booked everything, and our hotels canceled on us. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to rebook all of this, and I'm going to book it as an agent, use the IATA number, that kind of thing. I had called and booked the hotel, and I had booked an agent rate. We flew into Portland, Maine. We're driving from Portland up to Bar Harbor because we were going to Acadia National Park. We get about halfway there, and I get this phone call from the hotel, and the lady's like, hi, this is so-and-so, and I was just calling. Do you have a few minutes? I'm like, sure. And she says, well, we have this new sister property that we're just opening, and we wondered if you would be interested in us upgrading you to the sister property. And I was like, well, I have this really great rate where we're at. And she said, oh, no, we would just move you to a room at the other property and you wouldn't pay any more. And I was like, oh, okay, well, sure. So we get there, we get to this hotel, and it is gorgeous. It is right on the harbor. We have this beautiful suite that they've put us in with this balcony that we can go sit out on and look out over all the sailboats. I mean, it is gorgeous. It's over a $400 a night room. We paid nothing close to that because we were at the Holiday Inn Resort and booked an agent rate there. The amount of money that we saved on that trip covered all of my investment into my travel agency for that entire year. And my husband is like Mr. Skeptical. Like, he's not going to buy into anything. But after that, he was 100% sold. He's like, I think you might have actually finally found something that works great for us, you know? So that was awesome. We saved a ton of money there. I did all of the training with G Adventures and got certified as a South America specialist. And because I did that, I was able to go to Peru for 50% off. So that was pretty amazing. We went to Machu Picchu, and it was just an amazing trip. Then there's been several times where I've just been upgraded. If I book it with the IATA number, or if I've booked an agent rate and we get to the hotel and they're like, oh yeah, we've upgraded you to a suite. Great, thank you. Thank you so much. Things like that.
I love that. And I just want to share in case anyone's like, what did she say? So an IATA number, basically it's this internationally recognized number that when you have that as a travel agent, it just kind of shows that you're legit. And usually if you're going to get IATA membership as an agency, this can cost tens of thousands of dollars if you go on your own, because I originally looked into opening my own travel agency actually several years ago before I officially became a travel agent. I went the host agency route, which is what we work for. We both work with a host agency. We're both independent contractors. So you can think of it kind of like we're Uber drivers, but for travel is what I like to tell people. Is like, we have our own businesses. We get to set our own hours. We set our own income. We don't have to have a minimum, because that would be really stressful. I can't do that. Like, I need to be able to have flexibility. So yeah, I love that you shared that. The IATA number is one one of the things you get when you become an agent. So you do a certification, and she talked about how you could become a South America specialist with G Adventures. G Adventures is what we would call a tour operator or a vendor or a partner. We have all these different organizations that we work with. You get a certification through them, and that gives you the ability to get a travel agent specific rate or some kind of amazing deal that they only give to us. I actually saw and ended up booking, although sadly that got canceled too because of COVID. It all happens, right? Remember when we thought COVID was only going to be like a 3 or 4 month thing, and then it wasn't, right? So I had booked this trip 10 days in Greece and Turkey for $800.
Wow.
Damn trip. I know, I was so bummed when they canceled it. Thankfully, I only put in my deposit. It wasn't the whole amount, but just the fact that I even had a chance to go. And I'm always checking. There's this page. If you're listening and you are an agent with us, go to your back office and go to fam trips, scroll all the way down. I'm constantly refreshing that page. I actually bookmark my pages too, so I can save time. That's one big tip. You're going to get all these things that you log into when you become an agent. Make sure you have all your links saved so that you're not having to go and like find 50 different clicks to things. So you've shared agent perks with us. You've shared some awesome deals, upgrades. You shared that you're making real money with this, which is so cool because you're booking for clients, but you're also making money back on trips that you wanted to take anyway.
Right.
Which is so good.
What you were talking about, it's your business and you're an independent contractor. And that's one of the things I really love about this is like, if school is crazy and I am overwhelmed, I can take a break and nobody's going to be saying, hey, you didn't clock in today, or hey, you didn't sell 4 trips or $500 worth of tours or whatever. Nobody says that. It's all me. I get to choose. I love that flexibility and freedom.
Totally. I have some friends who are in the beauty MLM space, and I know people are hearing MLM and going, ugh, but I think it's good for you to hear because I'm sure you've had this experience or you know someone who has. Near the end of the month, you get all these messages. I'm trying to make orders. I have to make a minimum by the 31st, or they don't get paid. That's so sad, right? They don't get paid out unless they have a certain amount of orders. You don't have any of that. And I think it's important for you to know that because you might hear this and think like, oh, it's a sales position. If you're a teacher, you're already a natural communicator because you've developed this skill for so long, but you really don't have to sell. Like people who are looking to book a trip, they're already interested in doing it. You are just providing the service. You're not going to have to post on social saying, this is why you should travel. And you're trying to convince people. We don't do that. We work with people who are already interested in booking the trip. I want to make sure it's super clear because if you're hearing this and you're like, I really don't like selling, you really don't have to sell that much. I don't want to say you don't sell at all because that's not true. You do a little bit of sales, but it's not as strong or heavy. Before we wrap up the episode, would you share, just because you've been doing this for 4 years, what are some tips that would make them a smarter traveler? So just maybe some things about airports or when you're booking, some things to keep in mind so that even if they don't end up becoming an agent themselves or working with us, that they become a smarter traveler having listened to this episode.
A couple of different things. I have global entry, which I think is great if you're going to travel internationally. It gets you through customs super fast. A lot of the major airports, you literally walk up to a kiosk, it scans your face and it prints off your little piece of paper, and you literally walk over to the customs officer and hand it to them and walk in. It saved me literally hours coming back into the country. So that's really nice. I also have Clear. I just got that this year, which is really nice to just walk into the airport and walk up, and I don't do the iris scan, but I have a fingerprint thing. They just unhook the thing and you walk through and scan your fingers and you walk right up. I used to get really mad with all the people cutting in front of me when I had TSA pre-check, and so now I'm the person that cuts in front. So that's really nice. I think another one of my tips is if you can carry on a suitcase, don't check your bag. It just makes things a little bit faster. You don't have to worry about collecting luggage in between your international and domestic flights. You don't have to worry about it getting lost. There's different credit cards that you can get points. That's always really nice, and exchange those for services. Like we have an IHG card. We get points and we can use that for hotels. I think those are my big ones. If you're trying to find cheap flights, you can look at Google Flights and put in flight alert, and that will notify you when the price drops. It will also notify you if it goes up. So that's kind of handy.
For sure. Yeah, you already shared a lot. You shared global entry, Clear, carry on only. I don't have global entry or Clear. And literally every time I've gone through 4 international trips since then and been like, dang it, why haven't I done this? But this is kind of a cool thing, depending on the airport you come in from. So Phoenix International has this. They actually do the biometric scan, even if you don't have global entry. I came in through Phoenix. I didn't even take out my passport. I went up to the customs officer. He said, what's your name? I said, my name, Brittany Roberts. The little camera went down, scanned, and said, welcome home to America. That's it. Didn't have to ask for anything. It was kind of weird, to be honest. But it's becoming more and more normal. And so I'm just putting it out there that you're probably going to see a lot more of that. I know the UK has completely automated their border entry process. You put your passport down, it scans it, and then you go through, unless you have a passport from certain countries. But this podcast is for Americans. Carry on only. If you do want to check your bag, you can still do carry on only. And then when you get to the gate, they'll almost always say, does anyone want to check their bag for free? So if you're just cheap like myself, put it through the carry on. And then if you still don't want to deal with it, like walking around, go to the gate and say, hey, are you checking free bags? And then they'll say, sure. And then you do it. I've done that so many times. Vanessa, where can someone go if they want to maybe read your blog and see how you're doing that as a blogger, connect with you on social media? Where can people find you?
Travel the World History is my blog. So you would just go to traveltheworldhistory.com. I'm on Instagram and TikTok, Travel the World History. I have a Facebook page for Travel the World History. I don't post a lot on that. I post a lot more on just my personal page, and you can find that if you just look me up, Vanessa Holloway. I just recently had a book published called Not All Who Wander Are Lost, and that you can get on Amazon.
Exciting. And I'll make sure that all of your links are in the episode description and in the show notes once you publish it to the site. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for coming on to the show today.
Of course.